Hey sleuths, welcome back to Cold Case Study in our Spooktober minisodes. As always, I'm your host Morgan, and this month has been insane and very painful for me. But that's not what this episode is about. Today, we're talking about Bella. Bella and the Wych Elm. This episode is dedicated to Katie, my friend who just moved to England to pursue her master's in anthropology. Love you, girl. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to try to keep this short because this is a minisode. So, grab your sleuth book and top off your coffee because today we're diving straight in and I've only got one question for you. Can you help solve this cold case? Warning, the following audio contains adult content. Listener discretion is advised. In 1943, on April 18th, my birthday, Robert Hart, Thomas Willets, Bob Farmer, and Fred Payne, local boys, were out taking bird eggs from their nests in Hagley Wood, a section of woods on the Hagley estate owned by Lord Cobham, at the time near Wychbury Hill. You can guess, since this is a lord's estate, that these four local boys, weren't supposed to be there. But they came across a large wych elm that they thought would be a perfect place for a bird to nest. So Bob Farmer climbed the tree. Once up high, he looked down to discover that the tree was hollow. Hollow, but not empty. At first, being young boys, they assumed it was the skull of an animal, but then they saw human hair and teeth. Despite knowing that something was wrong, they were also trespassing on a lord's estate. So they swore up and down to each other that they wouldn't tell anyone and just went home. Bless Thomas Willets' little soul, because he was the youngest of the boys, and he just had this bad feeling about keeping the discovery of a human skull secret. And he told his parents everything. Thomas's parents, of course, then called the police, and I don't know, they probably called all the other boys' parents and got them all in trouble as well. So when the police went to investigate, they discovered a skeleton missing its hands, which were found a good distance away, or 13 paces away, which is something to note down in your sleuth book. They also found a shoe, a gold wedding ring, and some fragments of clothing in the tree where the body was found. The medical examiner, Professor, not doctor, Professor James Webster, established that it was a female who had been dead for at least 18 months, putting the murder around October 1941. 79 years ago this month. Webster found a piece of taffeta, which is also important, guys, so jot it down, in her mouth, and also concluded that due to the size of the tree trunk in which she was found, her body was disposed of there while she was still warm, as rigor mortis would have made it impossible to hide her there without chopping up the body. Despite knowing vaguely what the woman looked like, since, they had hair and everything, so they knew what color her hair was, no one came forward to identify her. But you gotta keep in mind, this was during World War II. Plenty of women had died or gone missing. Worcestershire, I am so sorry for that pronunciation, wasn't targeted in the Blitz, but that doesn't mean they were any less affected by the turmoil of the war that was going on. In 1944, someone spray painted a wall on Upper Dean Street in Birmingham, reading, quote, "Who put Bella down the wych elm? Hagley Wood," end quote. Similar messages have been left on the Hagley obelisk since the 1970s. The naming of the girl as Bella led the police to trying to find a missing Bella, but to no avail. A multitude of theories have been spread about this case, but sadly, I have to debunk one of my favorites first. The body in the wych elm was not Clara Bowler, a trained Nazi spy and the girlfriend of the last man to be put to death in the Tower of London, Joseph Jacobs. As they discovered in 2016, Clara died in Berlin in 1942. This doesn't stop people from believing that our mystery girl could have been killed by Nazi spies, though, for no one too much. The Radio 4 program in 2014 had Steve Punt, a British comedian and writer, suggesting that our girl was a sex worker by the name of Bella who worked Hagley Road back in 1941, and that possibly the graffiti artist who used the first name Bella either knew her or the killer. But a theory that's perfect to end on for our Spooktober minisode is this one: witchcraft. Proposed by Margaret Murray, the first woman ever to be appointed as a lecturer on archaeology in the United Kingdom, is the fact that the body's hands had been severed, led her to believe that she was killed in a ritual called the Hand of Glory. Remember when I said that, the hands had been found 13 paces away from the body? Well, apparently this is also something that they used to do to witches that they hung, so that they would cut off their hands and leave them 13 feet away from 13 steps away from the body. I don't know why, but that's what they did. In 1945, when this theory was first floated, Charles Walton was murdered on the nearby Meon Hill. He was found pinned to the ground with a pitchfork through his body, and the locals kept their mouths shut when police came around. So police assumed that it was devil worship, and the belief that the Wych Elm murder had been done as some sort of witchy ritual was rampant. Some believe, though, that this was all just a smokescreen by MI5 and that she really was just a Nazi spy or a person killed for knowing too much. I honestly don't have a theory on this one, guys. There are just too many reasons someone would kill a young woman and dump her body in a hollow tree. I'm not making light of it, I'm not joking. There are so many reasons why somebody would do that. But something interesting. You wrote down taffeta. I googled taffeta uses in the 1940s and found it interesting that it was mostly used for high-end day dresses or high-end evening gowns, meaning that whoever this woman was had money either before or during the war, which makes it very hinky that no one reported her missing and that no one missed her. So I don't think she was a sex worker, but that's all the speculation I've got. What do you guys think? Let me know by DMing me on Instagram or Facebook at coldcasestudy or by emailing me at coldcasestudy@gmail.com. As always, the case notes for this episode will be on my Instagram, and included will be the reconstruction of the skull showing what this woman may have looked like in the 1940s. Look familiar? Let the Birmingham, England police know. Don't forget to check out my link tree in my Instagram bio, where you can find my Patreon, Etsy shop, website, and a link to Apple Podcast, where you can leave me a 5-star review and help sleuths like you find this show. Thank you all so much for tuning in for this Spooktober minisode. I'll see you all later. Love you. Mwah. Hey sleuths, welcome back to Cold Case Study and our Spooktober minisodes. As always, I'm your host Morgan, and this month has been insane and very painful for me. But that's not what this episode is about. Today, we're talking about Bella. Bella and the Wych Elm. This episode is dedicated to Katie, my friend who just moved to England to pursue her master's in anthropology. Love you, girl. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to try to keep this short because this is a minisode. So, grab your sleuth book and top off your coffee because today we're diving straight in and I've only got one question for you. Can you help solve this cold case? Warning, the following audio contains adult content. Listener discretion is advised. In 1943, on April 18th, my birthday,